Okay, we should be live. Welcome back, everybody. For those of you who didn't catch the last one or need a reminder, just took down Citalis, and we are going to be moving on from there. I do have the full path planned out if you want to see that process. It was pretty lightweight, but that was at the start of the last live stream, and let's go. Okay. Stalwart Shield is so obnoxious. This is all fine. Hey, Elijah. Yeah, oops. Forgot about the power game on block. Bro, you mind? Yeah, I got asked to do a little bit more of an intro on live streams, and as far as, like, a thing, I don't think that's going to happen, like a whole spiel, because that's not really my channel, and I don't care for it to be. But I have in the past been better about speaking to people who watch it back later. And so I can make a point of doing that. And that's what that was. Ah, didn't hold on to the incinerate. That's fine, though. Oh, Prowler's mediums coming up short is the worst. Oh, that was terrible synthesis timing. Hey, Blizzard, how's it going? I started playing off my screen there for a minute. Don't do that. I don't know why I acted like I was Ghost there and that attack would miss. Anyway. Oh, wow. No, that's my fault for not playing around it. Oh, that's funny. Please dash. Oh, people make way too much of a deal out of that. I was too aggressive. That's what happens. And the funny thing is, if I'd been playing better in the last 30 seconds before that, then that aggression would have paid off, because I would have had the Incinerate up, and all those ruptures would have done more damage. It's fine. It's fine. Oh, okay. Cyber just took out Bahamut. Nice. Yeah, Synthesis. What are you gonna do? Old school MCOC having 0 timers on abilities that come back on timers. Continuing to cause problems. Yeah, I think I died to Black Panther because I just wasn't being careful and I got hit with Odin twice. C'est la vie. Oh, I really should have read things. 1 second. I know the class disadvantage part. Okay, cool. Oh, I never did get to 10, did I? That's my fault. Okay. Now we have immortality. Lord, that cold snap does a lot of damage. Absolutely insane. Very poorly timed heal block. Whoa! Okay. Why? We weren't unblockable. How did she copy an unblockable? What just happened? I know I played poorly and the cold snap did everything, but like, what just happened? I need to watch that back. No, we were unblockable. Okay, because she put it on us. Yep, that's just classic Sigil Witch nonsense. I need to start paying attention in this, don't I? That is, I promise I'm not being glib. That is literally what the word periodically means, right? On a period. Yeah, no. I just got unblockable and didn't notice it because it was hidden behind the combo callout in the next row of icons. Classic. Y'all get over the green relics. And that's not a command, I'm saying y'all will get over it. It's new, but it won't be. Hey, Skills. The one time where you want Biohazard to work here, I legitimately... Was there Biohazard on that? It's not listed in the fight thing here. Are you thinking of Shank Cyber? Alright, watch be like water. Otherwise, this is fine. Don't ask that stuff, Yolza. I really need to fix that about Guardian. I can't believe it's still working that way. Oh, whoops. Please don't kill. Okay. For those of you who aren't sure what I meant by I can't believe it still works that way or anything like that, Guardian Shock reapplies. There's no check on it to prevent it from like applying if it's already there. And so like what he's doing is literally like periodically every few seconds or whatever, he's checking to see is my ability accuracy being reduced? If so, apply an indefinite shock. But he keeps applying a new indefinite shock. It's why Guardian isn't a good answer to Domino on something like Masochism or Conflictor. And it's why, even though you get the relic bonus on the very first indefinite shock you get, which is why at the start of the fight it was doing like, what, 1,300, 1,400 damage per tick? Then it reapplied itself at a lower potency of 900. No. You misunderstand, TC. It's working against him. There is almost no way, like there's almost no fights where this actually works in his favor. Because the fix wouldn't make it so he doesn't try again if it's removed. The problem is he tries again even if it's not removed. It's... ugh. Anyway, thank you for the super chat, Yolds. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm sending a message to myself. I've been way too busy to actually um, catch up on stuff. Like bug reports lately because as some of y'all know, I got COVID. I lost a week. I need to finish my current character. But eventually I will go back through these and follow up on some bugs. And then hopefully that one gets fixed. Okay. Like, it's a very easy fix. It would take me 20 seconds. It's just a matter of getting a ticket so that it's recorded somewhere and then actually doing it. Okay. Well, yeah, it's non-stacking TC, so you're never going to get multiple shocks. The issue is just that it keeps reapplying. It's so I'm glad you liked it, R7. Wait, is this even good? Like, people used Negasonic, but her stuff is gonna get... Her damage is gonna get reflected, no? Doesn't sound fun. Guess we just try and back her off. Or keep her from dashing back. Keep it super aggro. Dang it. Yeah, see, that's exactly what my concern was. Okay. Woof! How many 2025 champs have I helped design so far? I've only released two new ones, Gene and Nico. I did the design side of the work on the Rebirth Champions, so if you want to count that as 6, you can. I don't know. I think it's probably a fraction of that. And then I have another champion in November, and then that'll be it for me this year. That has come up a few times, Yolza. Thank you again for the additional super chat. It's it's kind of it's apparently easier said than done, is all I can say right now. I have made a big deal of it multiple times, and I will again. Because yeah, I don't like it. But I don't think that's something that we're going to be able to fix super soon, and definitely not this month, right? Because that would 100% be a client-side change, and that would... Client-side changes are very, very difficult. You have to, like, get the code change in, you have to resubmit everything to Apple and Google, get the checks on it. I think it might even have to be approved by Marvel. I can't remember. But yeah, it's a bear. Wait, I put down Warlock, and that's my best Warlock? Do I have somebody else I can use? I don't think I want to do that. Yeah, maybe I just use Howard. That sounds better. Or I'm not using Lady Deathstrike anywhere, that'd be fine. Let me read the node. Confusing specials is the reverse controls thing, right? Yeah. But double determination is so annoying. You know, Mysterio would be pretty good here. I'm definitely not using him anywhere else. Let's just do that. You've assigned Spiral for this? Just because of the... I don't fully understand that one. Hey, Frequency, thank you. That wasn't even fully a reverse controls error, that was just me not expecting this special. Yeah, I've got Jack marked down elsewhere, but I thought about potentially moving him because of that, for sure. Now that's a poison. Yes. When we design the champion, we assign prestige. We have standing orders to not go too high without discussing with the rest of the team, but other than that, we have a fair amount of freedom. Whoops. I'm not going to answer that directly, Elijah, but we could be more precise with measuring fight time than we currently are, for sure. Yeah, Mysterio's an interesting one. Because most of the solutions people give don't really, like, they don't solve the core of the problem, right? And I think that's true of the Penny Synergy as well, right? Because Mysterio's core problem is that his economy doesn't quite work. It's very interesting. It's a cool concept, but it doesn't quite get there, right? Like, using the gas, there's too much tension between using the gas for the 3 or 4 different things you can use it for and not enough of a payoff, and then he doesn't interact with modifiers because almost like his poison damage is all base attack, and it's he needs help on the economy getting those things to work together better, even if it means something gets tuned down as well as up. And the penny synergy is actually a good example of that because it doesn't solve the economy problem, it removes one of the things from it entirely. And that's not really a fix. And see, like, that's not even true, TC. The special 2 with Mysterio is quite good. It's just that the reason it's quite good is because when you're using it, you can actually throw a lot of heavy attacks that then don't do anything because you need the gas for the heavy attacks. It's yeah, that's kind of what I mean. I would love to use Black Panther there, but he is really not good for ebb and flow knockdown. And I do think that like Mysterio's special 1 could be significantly better, right? Like it's the kind of thing you have to be careful with because it I don't think it would make sense for him to be like immune to all incoming damaging effects during this and also has giant crit resistance, so it's just completely safe poison, right? Or completely safe healing. But Tech does have the ability to do offensive ability accuracy down. They could throw it on there for specific damaging effects or something. You could expand it to include blocked hits on offense, because I don't think it currently does, right? It's just blocked hit, or it's just landed hits. Like, who knows? Because it says incoming damage, and that's definitely not what's happening. Right, but that's not the main issue then, TC. Like, you say, oh, well, the main issue, but what you're describing is a symptom of the actual main issue, which is what I was saying. If the reason the special 2 is useless is because the economy around the gas doesn't work, then the main issue is the gas economy and not the special 2. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, there's a number of things you could do to fix it, and you would need balance support to then double check yourself, because hiding in Mysterio under not too much of a veil there is an incredibly broken character. And so it makes perfect sense why he doesn't quite get there, because he's kind of like, they didn't find a safe way to make him work, and so he just doesn't, right? That's kind of how that goes. And it reapplies the weakness. Whoop. I know I had Disorient on me, but I also didn't think I dropped my block. Here we go. Dang it. He's really not playing along. Okay. Yeah, and see, this is like, I long day trying to make sure that I respond appropriately. If you find yourself saying it would be an easy fix to do X, check yourself. Um because like that's not. Hey Pablo, how's it going, man? Welcome, Aiden. It's not really the right phrasing, if that makes sense. Like it would be an easy improvement. It would be an easy increase in power to do that, right? It does not mean it's an easy fix. Because if it was a fix, that implies the correct thing, right? And so like that's adding more weight and judgment to it that is like not really responsible to do without play testing and adjustment, right? Because maybe that does it, or maybe it just breaks three other things, right? Like yeah, it's tough. Mysterio is one of those who has enough power and utility built into his abilities that anything you do to him, I think, needs the support of playtesting and balance passes, right? Kind of my whole point here is that I don't think there is an easy fix. There are obvious levers to pull, but that doesn't mean that's the end of it, if that makes sense. That Joe fight was really annoying. Maybe we should have used Lumitrix. That probably would have been nice. Anyway. That might work, Aiden. It would certainly be a better reward for his SIG, which already feels kind of good, but not great. I'm sure you've got plenty of time. Woo! Okay. Hey, John. Afternoon. I don't think I actually said this out loud while I was in that fight, but like a number of character updates in this game have already happened because I've just gone and tried things out. But yeah, as Elijah was joking about, I don't have limitless time to do that. Yeah, very similar to Sue in that. Sue, I know for a fact, spent most of her development process oscillating between and holy, because her designer told me as much. I wasn't here for Mysterio's process, and his designer is no longer with the company. It was Broccoli. I think I remember it being something like that, but I don't know as much for sure. Be like water is actually really annoying for Thanos. Come here. No, you need to actually knock down, don't you? Yeah, I'm just dead now. Alright. I'm cashing that in. 1 second. Oh, I forgot that Rising Sun isn't just a heavy hit. It's knockdown with a heavy. Yeah, I agree, Aiden. Like, you can game around one of those gas when you throw the special 3 by having another one almost ready to recharge, but bleh. I'm not doing that, Yolza. The community has plenty of very loud reactions to the Rebirth Champions. I don't need to add mine. We talked about it a bit yesterday, though. No, wait, it did go away on the first hit. Why didn't it this other time? Maybe I'm just not counting right. That's fine. I mean, it really depends, right? I feel like you need another defender. If you have a science gem, if you think Modok is neat, like, sure. I think it's very defensible to take Modok out of the selector. I'm taking Modok out of the selector because I have a rank 4, like, Sig 60 Patriot. It's not worth skipping out on Modok for me to get 20 more Sigs, right? Hmm. See, Cat used Patriot for this one. Yelena obviously works, but if I'm not using Patriot anywhere else, yeah, let's do it. I like Patriot a lot, but Patriot's definitely more attacker leaning. Modok's more defender leaning. It's gonna depend on who you need, right? I don't even think that's really true, John. There were plenty of characters in that era that had access to both. The problem with Mysterio is not a trade-off between damage and utility. It's that it just doesn't work, right? Like, it's not like there was some rule that held him back. He just didn't get there. That's something I think a lot of people miss is like the character isn't necessarily like being bound by the balance team or by this design rule or that design rule. It's just like no, the sometimes characters don't work because designers had ideas, they were cool ideas, and because they didn't have time or because they didn't see it or for whatever reason, they didn't get them into the spot they needed them to be in for them to work, right? The dupe is still pretty darn good. Because it's extra block proficiency, but it also turns off block pen, right? And it turns off block proficiency reductions. Like, Patriot can block unblockable without the sig now. But if you want to block unblockable profitably, this is still pretty important, right? Especially against Photon, especially against somebody like Joe Fixit, with his disorient, that kind of thing. And then the precision's letting you crit more is just nice. But clearly, Patriot has his uses. Hey, Vader, how's it going, man? Yeah, Iron Man Infinity War is a very good questing champ. Although I am, you know what? I've got a moment now. Where is my? I'm checking the code right now for his chance to gain an armor up because that was the most show me the weighted dice moment I've had in a while. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, last night I used Iron Man Infinity War against the Caltrops Hood, and for the life of me, I could not keep armor ups up. It was so painful. Blah, 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 blah. Oh! He's lying. We love that. Cool. Well, at least I'm not insane. Took that one, too. I'm not going to give the exact chance, but you know how his info page says up to 24% chance to gain when struck or when landing an attack, and then chance is reduced for each armor up? So the reduced for each armor up is true. The up to 24% is technically true, but that is the chance when struck. Part of the reason it says up to is that the chance when striking is lower. Which, like I said, I will look at. Because that's one of those things that people love to say, like, oh, so it's bugged. Like, that's not what I said, right? And he's not even really technically lying. I would just call that ability description misleading. It's not incorrect. It is technically true. He does have an up to that chance when striking or when struck. It's just that when striking and when struck are not the same value, and so the up to, the maximum, is just the struck. Again, all technically accurate to the English he is using, but not cool, bro. Anywho. Patriot looks really cool until you see his head is just a standard Lego superhero head. Yeah, I like Patriot's outfit. It is a bit basic, but I think that's kind of the point, right? It's like if you really pay attention to the character, he is a patriot, but it's the more complicated version of patriotism, right? He's not a nationalist. He doesn't follow blindly along the idea that his company or that his team can do no wrong, right? Or even that superheroes can do no wrong. He has critiques of his country. He has critiques of Captain America. So it both, but he still aspires to that ideal, right? He wants them to be the best version of themselves. And so like calling himself simply Patriot and having a very simple superhero outfit while critiquing these things, I think makes sense, right? Like it's a kind of irony and I like it. Okay, so I'd use Sandman for that hood. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. If I had a ranked up Sandman, I like that. So without the SIG, I won't be able to perfect parry Photon Special 1, and I'll still get ripped apart through the block. Right. Will the weakness against her Fury passives calm the block damage enough? Um, enough is subjective there. I will say that, like, I think I said this. Oh, you know what? I did say this on a video I haven't released yet, because I got COVID. Anyway, um, I need to finish editing the Patriot Yondu Modoc video. I did record it. I could tell I wasn't all there, and so parts of the Modoc and Yondu sections may need to be re-recorded, and that's why it isn't out yet. The Patriot part was pretty good though, and one of the things I said in that was some of y'all have heard me say before. The issue with Patriot is that I didn't stand my ground the proper amount during his design review. I got some pushback on things, and again, I say this in the video. I'm not putting the blame on my coworkers, right? All of us always say things. Inevitably, all of us say that worries me when it's actually fine. Inevitably, all of us say, I think you can do a little more here when there is not room to do more there, right? This is not me blaming my coworkers. It's just that it's the job of the designer and it's the mark of a strong designer to pick and choose from that feedback exactly how much you move. And on Patriot, I moved too much. And several of the things we changed in the rework were basically me going back to earlier versions of the kit. There were earlier versions of the kit where the Steadfast was in the base. But people said it was like, well, then the block damage is going to feel bad, right? So you're going to really want the SIG. So is it really enough on its own? And at the time, I think it probably still was. And so I shouldn't have budged on that. But the real mistake on my part is that I moved it into the SIG and then I added the scaling weakness in the base kit and I didn't take it out of the SIG, right? I did not reevaluate the whole picture after a later change. And so that's just 100% on me. And so I think to answer the question directly, the weakness will help. How big the photon is, how much you're punching up, how long the fight is, are all going to be have an impact on how much it helps. Yeah, Iron Man Infinity War is very good in long fights, unless you need bleed or cold snap immunity. Ugh, that's so annoying. Whoops. Right, you have to block once and then intercept. There we go. Nice. Yeah, no, he's got a good set. If you don't have another photon counter, Austin, I think then it will feel like enough, right? If you do, then I think Unduped Patriot is definitely going to feel a little wanting against her. I mean, his SIG wasn't really binary before. It's just that people focused on the steadfast, and so it felt binary, right? No, Domino... I don't think Domino has an attacker-defender split. She's just, you know, random as all heck. So it's constantly going everywhere. I mean, the thing is that I think the designer was trying to touch as little as possible, and especially ability descriptions, and mostly just touch numbers, right? The Iron Man Infinity War buff was very, very exact that way. And when possible, whenever the balance team is the one doing the buff, that is kind of their North Star, to keep things simple. I don't remember that line, because I was in conversations and playtests for the buff. I don't remember that line coming up at all. I also don't think that we really made a point of testing him in bleed immune matchups, right? So I think it just kind of got missed. Oops, forgot to use the pre-fight. That's fine. Oops. Every time I fight Biohazard, I forget and I hit block. There we go. The thing about Black Widow that I think a lot of people forget is that evade chance is inherently something that is going to feel different than listed. Because, as a reminder, when the evade actually triggers, it ends your combo, right? Like, if the evade would trigger on the 97th hit of a combo, then you land 97 hits. If the evade would trigger on the fourth hit of a combo, or 96 hits. If the evade would trigger on the fourth hit of a combo, then you land 3 hits. And so, like, I really think that that's kind of what ends up swaying things for people, is that you don't notice it because you're landing hits, and then boom, you notice it every single time. It has an outsized impact on the game. You use somebody like Falcon, or no, because Falcon also punishes chance, if I remember correctly. It has to be, I think, like Black Cat. And you are checking just the failures due to ability accuracy reduction and not the ones due to chance, then it's going to feel a lot more like 3% because it's not ending your combo and distorting things. Hey, Sans. Yeah, no, it's a fun one to poke fun at, and it's an important lesson, right? Because I've brought that up with other designers, especially like a few times we've had newer designers on the project go, okay, I'm just gonna do like a 15% evade chance, like a nice low chance to evade. And then those of us who have been on the project for a while and have fought Black Widow raise our hands and go, 15% is not a low chance to evade. I mean, Red Guardian is viable in the sense that he can do damage and is still buff immune and still has slow, right? But if you are asking if he's a nuke in Battlegrounds, he's only really a reliable nuke at high sig, right? You want the crit. But you could get lucky on the crit without the sig, right? You don't technically need it. Favorite Act 8 boss fight? Lycon's really good. I do like Cytalis a lot, though. I think it's tough to know with Cytalis because I don't feel like we've really gotten the same tuning, right? Because everything on her is aimed at like first boss. She's easier. We don't really get the same feeling of like what does Cytalis's mechanics look like tuned the way Glycon's were? Because then I think she might clear it for me. But both of those are really interesting. I actually don't agree with that, Aiden. I didn't think the invisible traps were all that fun. I get why people do, but it wasn't for me. I don't know why I did that, but that's fun. Cerastes is very satisfying. Absolutely, the tempo is really nice when you're in the flow. Yeah, the Labyrinth of Eight is only what, like 2% or something easy. It's yeah, no, that would not be a fun game. I agree, Austin. I think the whole act, all four, are very good. I know a lot of people don't like Bahamut because it's slower, and that's arguable, but I really don't care. It's strategist General Hulk, right? Like that's if any fight is going to take a while, it makes sense to me that it's that one. I don't know. It has literally never bothered me. Cersei, what are you doing over here? That's probably enough. Also that Austin, yeah, his animations are very good. Hey, Sparley, how's it going? I only vomit because I suck at ping pong. And that's fine, right? But I think that we can allow that it is cool that that's in the game, right? Even if it's not for you. Hey, Kurd, thank you. Yeah, sure, John. Nah, please, Kurd. I think we'd kind of come to a whoops. Pain. Come on, kitty. Throw it. Thank you. Okay, that'll do. I hate sidetracking any conversation. Oh yeah, I already said please do. I'm liking Edge of Eternities quite a bit. Yeah, it's just cool. I think that they did a really good job with spacecraft. Like they're not the most busted mechanic, but I honestly think they've just been doing a good job with new card types in general lately. Like battles were a little weak, but they easily could have been beyond warping. Rooms, I think, were in a really healthy spot for Duskmorn. And I think Spacecraft ended up in a pretty healthy spot here, right? Like, if your deck doesn't support them or if you don't want them, then they're not very good, but they can also absolutely win you games. Like, I think they're just. I think WotC's really nailing it with that, right? Like, all these new card types have been really interesting and successful, and I feel like they've. Even if they are a major feature of a format, like, that's fine. They're the new card type, but they've clearly like been playing it a little bit close to the vest and not just going all out on them all the time, right? Um, Swarley's got jokes today. Yeah, but I think that's really cool. I actually personally really enjoy the theming. I think all of the space themed cards are cool. I think they've done a good job with flavor. It still feels very magic though. I like that there's like, jellyfish people and the Kabu are coming back. Like all of that feels right. Um, the balance feels pretty decent. Green is strong, yes, but the other colors have plenty to do. There are a lot of really cool cards that is just like, oh, that works that way. Like there's a lot of little pockets of synergy. Like yes, there are big bombs, but there's just been a lot of cool stuff that's happened in games. I went to Friday Night Magic not yesterday, but the week previous. And even the games that I lost, as long as it wasn't to flooding, were still like pretty fun, right? Like one game I got destroyed. Um, but it was because somebody was popping off with like the combo of three legendary artifacts that I had never seen before, and it was really cool. Okay, shield time. Sometimes, Dilly. I only started last year. Um, which one was my first? I forget exactly. But it's been a recent thing for me. But yeah, I started going to pre-release. I've done a few Friday night drafts, and that's about it. I don't really do constructed. Let me just pull up his info page off to the side. I like generally remember this stuff, but it has been a bit. Where is our? Oh, is he under Hulk Bahamut maybe? Yeah, okay. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so striking distance. Yeah. You want to stay close. You want volatility. You don't want camo. Remember the auto block on the special repeat. Unstoppable. Down. I'll come back to that. Hey, images. I will back up through chat after this. Oh, no, it's a special into it, isn't it? Woo! Been a bit. That's okay. Let's hold on to the special 3, because we may need it for that regen. Yeah, and I should have saved the special 2, because I was underestimating how quickly we'd get those volatility charges back. That's fine. Learning. Dang it. Okay, well, now we're using the special 3 earlier than we intended. That's okay. It's a rank 4 shield. It should be fine. Dang it. There we go. Which phase are we in? Boss? 2, right? Because, yeah. Okay, now is when we heavy into the thing. Okay. Rude. I mean, stupid on my part, but still rude on his. How dare he? Nice try, Hope Boy. Hate when he dashes back right before. Whoops, that's fun. Come here. Whoop. I forgot that I had a removal charge until it was too late. Not the first time that's happened. Double Fire Blast is so rude. %. Chance. Okay. Alright, I'll take the deep wound skill. Woo! Alright, I will catch up on chat. But give me a quick second. I'm going to run downstairs and start the tea kettle. I'm going to need it for the second half of this. I am, I think, going to go through to Cerastes. Alright, BRB. Okay, I'm back. Oops, wrong one. All right. If we thought about going over a lot of ramp up champions and adding a clause for Battlegrounds, it's come up from time to time. Especially because, bluntly, sometimes people in other departments ask us about it. Because, people in other departments, if they're not they're designers and they play the game, sometimes they're kind of close to other players and their thoughts on that, right? It's it's kind of complicated because the quick response is not every character needs to be good in Battlegrounds, and a ramp up champion that's aimed at Everest content is exactly the kind of champion that you would start with in picking characters that don't need to be good in Battlegrounds, right? And so I think that, but then, people are going to come back and go, well, then why did you add that to Serpent? Why did you add it to Sabretooth? Why did you add it to Cull? For Serpent in particular, there were some tech defenders that kind of needed it, and we also knew that what we were giving him was not going to suddenly make him a top attacker in Battlegrounds. It was just going to kind of be like, there's some value if you put down the right defender, and 45-6 score will win for you, right? Like that's a very there's a reason that was the first time we did that, right? Because it was a calmer approach to it. It was more measured. Hull is a ramp up champion that's also not aimed at Everest, right? He's more aimed at war, and so like I think it made more sense to us to also expand that to Battlegrounds. Sabretooth was aimed at Everest, but like with a synergy, and then while I don't think he necessarily needs a lot more utility, like people are saying, he is on the milder side for utility, right? And so like I think it makes more sense for him to have some extra oomph in Battlegrounds. But using your other two answers there, or the one that Swarley hopefully joked about with Aegon, like Apocalypse and Professor X have plenty of other uses. Aegon, when ramped, is the Everest character, right? They are doing very, very different things than Shothra and Sabretooth. Professor X starting with multiple charges would probably still be bad in Battlegrounds, honestly, just because of the way he works. Um, and maybe if he came out today, you could justify that a little bit the way that we did with Serpent, but Professor X isn't really a Battlegrounds defender either. And so, like, why bother giving him an ability that still doesn't make him super relevant in that game mode when he's doing fine in the game modes he's actually aimed at? Apocalypse is similar, right? Like, the thing to remember about Apocalypse is just that he does have some defensive utility. Him, I could see more, right? Like, people are always like, give him 4 charges, and they can sit down and shut up. Because I don't think that's reasonable. I could see Apocalypse starting in Battlegrounds with 2. Yeah, and I know that's what you said as well. And then that would be 4 with mutants, right? Or against mutants. That makes more sense. I am theoretically open to that. I'm not sure he needs it. Because again, Apocalypse also has a lot of utility. Apocalypse is still good in war. Apocalypse is a monster in questing. With the Strife synergy, he's still one of the best Everest characters in the game. Does he need to also be a Battlegrounds attacker? Or is he doing fine? Right? So I think that's kind of the big thing there, right? Apocalypse, Professor X, Strife in Everest are different beasts than Sabretooth and Cull and Everest. And so I think the shortest answer to kind of sum up all of that is that they arguably don't need it. Like, ramp up champion is a much more nuanced category than that label implies. TCS, what do I think is the reason that Strife Hype didn't last after his release? He is solid. I think that I don't know exactly what the reason was, but I think really one of his biggest things is like people complain about Cole's block proficiency being too low. And like I said, his is just standard for his body type. It's just not high. But he also doesn't need to block a bunch. Strife's block proficiency is actually too low. Strife's block proficiency is low for his body type, if I remember correctly, and he needs to parry a ton of times, and he has no regen, and he's not a nuke, right? I think that Strife's block proficiency is a huge problem to his broad adoption. You need to parry a bunch of times. If you miss the parry, you're in trouble, and even if you land the parry, you're still taking damage, which means that you have like a frequent point of failure that where even success doesn't feel amazing. Um, that's the biggest thing in my opinion. I think if you could get around that, then the biggest problem with Strife would be just how much he needs high sig, right? Like especially Austin mentioned Kitty coming out in the same year. When you compare him to Kitty, Kitty basically just needs Sig 1 to get that takes no damage clause, and then she goes nuts, right? Strife needs high Sig because he's a ramp up champion who locks himself out of his own ramp, right? Like Strife unduped very quickly gets to the point where he kills too efficiently to ramp any further. That I understand that the Sig fixes that in quotes, but I think that is a pretty major flaw because it breaks the rule we often talk about where characters shouldn't feel like too different, I will just say, because if I apply any other comparative adverb there, people will probably start whatabouting me. But like we try and make sure characters don't feel too different between base kit and awakened, and Strife does. He goes from somebody who's like barely a ramp up champion and only really works in Everest, and even there you need potions to sustain him because of the block proficiency thing, to somebody who actually works in other game modes because he can ramp without the special 3. And I think when you combine those two problems, you have a character with a lot of really cool, nuanced utility and really powerful abilities. Who is just very creative, who is fundamentally flawed because for large portions of the community and for many, many game modes, one of those problems or the other gets in his way. Interesting question. Um, Played in my youth. Nice. I think I said hi to images. Hi. What tech champions do I foresee benefiting the most from crit resistance StatCast? I'm kind of torn because a lot of Cosmic spend red numbers lately. I'm going to keep reading because I saw more people talked about that. That's a good question, Dilly. I don't know. I think to just kind of broadly answer your question, Aiden, like, yes, some cosmics are going to bypass the crit resistance, but that is kind of the point, right? It makes the cosmics that do bypass the crit resistance more important. And it also blocks out some characters from other classes that would get through when the what you should be using is those cosmics, right? I think that's basically where it comes down. I don't know, Travis, and I'm not going to speculate further, but I kind of doubt it. I don't know. It's an interesting question. Morningstar, I could maybe see, but it kind of depends on what other work she gets done, right? I don't think that's actually a counter argument to what I said, Austin. Yeah. Like, I didn't say it swings both ways, right? Like, I said a lot more words than that. And so I think it's more nuanced there. Yeah, something like that, Aiden. Like, bluntly, whenever we make a call like that, y'all aren't all going to be happy with it. And so that's just something that's fine, right? We can disagree. But the short version is I think it's pretty objectively true that not all ramp characters need any targeting in Battlegrounds. I think Professor X is maybe the best example, but I think Aegon's a pretty good one too, right? Like Aegon is designed to be borderline unstoppable once you ramp him. That's not something that we need to put in Battlegrounds. And anything short of when he's nuts would probably be underwhelming and not feel good enough, right? So why bother? He's the king of Everest, leave him there. And so then anyone other than Professor X and Aegon, we're basically arguing over tuning and where we draw the line. Um, and it's fine if reasonable people disagree there. Yeah, I think that really, like, often when the question is something along those lines, the answer is because of different targets, right? I do think Sabretooth needed it. I don't think Professor X does, and then it's a question between there. Would I say Strife would be more in line for a tune-up as opposed to a rework? Maybe, but I think he needs some mechanical change to address the Sig problem, right? It's easy to bump his block proficiency. It's super easy to do that. Numbers don't really solve the other problem. All right, I will be right back because the water for the tea should be ready now. So give me a couple. Okay, back. No, I understand that too, Austin. I more meant like it was just when you said I don't feel like it swings both ways because I that felt like arguing a little bit past, but I don't know, maybe that's not fair. I think we're in a fine spot there. I think rank 4ing Lumitrix as your first rank 4 skill would be fine. Yeah, I like Lumitrix a lot. There's not an objective right answer, Jason. Let's not go full tier list on that stuff. I'm glad you're liking Anti-Venom though. Hey Chris, how's it going? Hey Jason. That's okay. I did the first half. Now we are moving, or I guess technically the second quarter. Now we're moving into the third. Excuse me. So much going. So much going on. Yeah. I also think the idols have gone well so far. God, that quadruple power burn at the end there is rough. I love that Vulture doesn't have a timer on that. Makes that so much fun. Ah! It's fine. That was probably going to kill us if we threw the special too. him waiting out that shocks was kind of the kiss of death. I don't enjoy this fight. Probably should have just used Deathless King Groot and been fully immune even if it took 6 years. Oh, no, that's not what I meant to do! Come on! Now we just die. Oh my god! He waited out the full Infuriate! What are you doing? Thanks, Jason. I really appreciate it. I didn't mean to do that. Oh no, now we just die here. Love it. Absolutely love it. Alright, wait for it to come back. One more special one. Stupid. And yeah, I'm fine, and she's headed home soon, Jason. Really appreciate it. I think you found the least fun fight for me, Drew. I did not enjoy that vulture. Yeah, like I'm not gonna insult y'all's intelligence by saying that there isn't a relationship between inverted controls and psychic shielding, but it is closer to that than anything else, and please try to remember that. Psychic shielding is a tag, like villain or hero or X-Men. And some characters don't apply their reverse controls when the opponent has psychic shielding. Psychic shielding is not reverse controls immunity. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, Venom makes sense. I think I had him down somewhere else, though. Maybe I already used him. Get her with the float forward. Here it is. We expect this kind of nonsense. I do Venom too. Yeah, technically I do too. Yeah, my boost did fall off just before Bahamut. Thank you, though. Good to throw that back on now. Yeah, Crossbones is very, very good. I'm sure she did, Matt. Thrasties, yeah. A lot of really good science champs out there, so you at least have your pick. I mean, just because somebody corrects you doesn't mean that it does matter. Okay, fine. We'll do this then. No idea, Lawrence. I'm not in live ops. But hi. If it helps you remember at all, Black Hole, Cerastes, the name comes from the same root word as Triceratops. It's the name of a horned snake. So horn is the important root word there. Cera, Cera, same as Triceratops. And then Cerastes basically just means horned. Whoops. That's fine. need to wait 1 second. Just 1 second. Very lucky crit. He had redoubled determination, didn't he? Yep. Okay. Well, I wasn't reading that closely. Asking because of the channel logo? Yeah. Baku and Nakia feel like the most obvious ones. Both of those would be cool. I would definitely... I'm not sure I would necessarily call dibs on both of them, but like it would be on the list for sure. I would see what else was going on at the time. Who was the one Daniel Kaluuya played? What was his name? Wakabi. Okay, yeah. That one is probably less likely because the thing that really made that character interesting was the Rhino mount, and that sounds like a nightmare to animate. But M'Baku and Nakia both seem very possible. You have a Koye now. I think you'd probably have to dig a little deeper in the comics to go past that. Like, without doing skins of other characters, I'm not entirely sure. There are other Wakandans I'm trying to think of right now. Like, Gentle was a little bit of a niche pick. I'm glad we have him. You were close, Aiden. It's an apostrophe instead of the A, but, you know. The alphabets that, or yeah, the languages that those fictional names are based on in Black Panther were not originally developed for the Latin alphabet, so I think that's close enough. No, Dazzler and Danny were not made by the same person. Dazzler was a collaboration between Na on the balance team and Kabam Sate, and Danny was Kabam Eclipse. Maybe Black Hole, and I guess her as Black Panther would probably be enough of a different thing that it wouldn't just be a skin, but like I don't personally think that would be different enough, right? Like we already have literally two versions of T'Challa, and they do different things with claws that swipe at the opponent, but like doesn't Shuri just literally use Killmonger's suit? Like we have movie T'Challa, comics T'Challa, comics Killmonger. Adding Shuri as Black Panther would probably just be like skinny Killmonger. And I know her as a character is more than that, but her as a character in this game doesn't really excite me, right? Whereas like M'Baku is more interesting because he has a different weapon, right? Um Wakabi does have different weapons at least. It would be like there's more for the animators to do with that. Nakia has very different weapons, closer to Shuri's but still unique. I think those are generally better places to go. Patriot would probably be very good against Bahamut. You basically ignore the disorient so you can just bait the special one till the cows come home and never care about it. You're not getting free instability. You're not getting free instability, but yeah, everything else would work really well. I also didn't know about what Aiden just said, so I'm not entirely sure. Oh, I know exactly what's going on there. Okay. I have to bug our bug fixer, because this is now a list of bugs. Okay, what was I doing? Dazzler for Torch. Excuse me. Easy there, Austin. Yeah, I thought about Nefaria. Sometimes you gotta use the characters you pay for. That was pretty gross through the protection at the end. Thoughts on Void for that? Yeah, great. I just have never been lucky with getting Void duped early. I'm planning on taking Viv to rank 4 Black Hole. Beyond that, I'm not sure. I'm fine with pretty much anybody. Thanks, Austin. Do I work on any game outside of MCOC? No, not directly. I've done some internal playtesting for other Kabam titles. Like King Arthur would be an obvious one. Oops. Oh, come on. Whatever. I meant to just do this. Obviously could have played that better. Fine, I'll just throw it. I want to keep those spheres. That would have been very annoying, Aiden. I didn't realize Destroyer's top 30. That is cool. Okay, I've got down Black Panther. Oof. I mean, that's because Void's in an exclusive crystal, Blazy, but yeah. Wow. Excuse me, my controls aren't really behaving right now. What? Okay. I've always hated his animations. Oh my... The AI is out of control on the whole just not block at all lately. Bro. I worked for that one. Hey, Snoops. Nope, still the same, Snoops. Thanks, y'all. That was painful for a while. Sometimes people ask me, what skills do you need to play in Tier 1 War? That. That fight right there. Shutting up and breathing. What's on? Wait, where were those furies coming from? Yeah. Oh, as long as the neutralize isn't up. Okay. So I get furies or incinerates. That's fine. We can get plasmas. That's why I didn't notice them the first time. Hmm. I would have turned off the game when I threw that special into his block. I I literally had the thought, how long ago was my last restart? I'm not proud of. That's okay. I held on to it. Uh, no, the relic icon on the defender is not supposed to be there right now. Stat casts will be active on defenders, and so they should have their icons, but something got mixed up on the back end with relics sometimes being there when they weren't actually equipped, and then some battle casts were showing up on defense when they shouldn't, and so that's why they've been just fully disabled on defense for now. They'll be back for stat casts later. Therapeutic. Yes, I can check my email. Hi. uh... Sometimes. No, 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 no. Different family member. Yeah, sure thing, Lawrence. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Stat focus for Viv? I probably would do block proficiency, yeah. Because if you get hit and like start taking actual red, like, well, actually, just if you take red numbers in general, you're probably in trouble because her health pool is small, right? If you take hits, well, she has armor, so energy and physical resistance aren't going to help you that much. Okay, I'll check again. Um, that was the second one, though, by the way. And so, yeah, if you get hit, the resistances probably aren't going to help you that much because you have armor, which means that the best damage mitigation for her is probably when blocking. So I would do block proficiency on her. Now, if you pick up a stat cast that has the resistances or armor or something along those lines, then yes, absolutely, protect her. There you go. I don't know that she'd be my pick, Warrior, but I am also not going to speculate further on that. All right, APOC. Yeah, you're throwing the special to... But you have armor on the way up, right? If you're getting hit during your cash out, that's a different problem. Like, fundamentally, Viv is a glass cannon. Anything you do to make her less glass is going to have limitations, right? Because you're not going to fundamentally change what kind of character she is. So you do what you can. And okay. Then I'm not sure who you're talking about. Oh, Wiccan. I got you. So you're saying that the squishy part doesn't bother you because he doesn't. Probably. Oh, images said regen. Yeah, no, Wiccan's regen is mostly just for stuff like Terex. It's not to keep him alive. I agree with you there. Nice, Warrior. Congrats. This next one I have down Luke. But would this be a place to use High Evolutionary? Probably. Yeah, let's do that instead. That sounds fun. How to use our toys. I believe so, Soheb. Cool. Okay. Ah, we lost the field. Okay, Guang is just being enough of a jerk that this isn't going perfectly, but that's alright. Whoa, bro! Yeah, he's just gonna throw. That's fine. Inequity! Let's go. Hey, Narctic. Okay. Unstoppable was just annoying enough, you know? I forget. I do. Yeah, it might be. Fair enough, Michael. That's fine, I'll take just the one. Easy enough to take risks with Tony. He's a tank and a half. You know, that's not quite what I wanted. I was hoping to just hit the special button, but I didn't quite make it. That's fine. I think it's Iron Man versus Bishop. Okay. Yeah, I could see that being part of it for sure. When inputs feel different, that could be huge. I have down Bullseye, but I don't know that I'm actually going to enjoy it. Since his guaranteed crits aren't working properly. Yeah, let's just go Shang-Chi. It's fine. We die, we die. I want to use the character I want to use. Hey, Alfie. Viv is the top priority, but after that, I'm good with whatever. That's fine. More opportunities for Furies. Oh no, I needed to do the cleanse first. That's also fine. Oh. Sabretooth. I think he's fun. He's mostly a sledgehammer, but he's a good sledgehammer. And he has some really interesting and unique abilities that I think people aren't quite clocking. I believe you're right there, Muma. I think it's 1 plus 30.9. And then times that. Because the SIGs were designed to be very simple, right? Um, they're just everything is better.
Come on, Alex. Dang it, that's fine. That's fine. That's all I want for Christmas is this.
That's fine. We didn't even get.
Yeah, Icarus needs a full rework for sure. Cool ideas, didn't get there.
Thanks, Snoops. We have been trying. Gamora would also be really good here. I'm fine using Venom though.
Yeah, way too much damage, that's fine. Now we're up to the part where we can't repeat. That's fine. Come on, buddy, throw it. It's just bad time. Come on, back up, back up. Oh, that jerk!
Calm down, Alfie. I'm fine.
Bro. Getting there. Oops. I was ready for that.
Okay. Sim had a really good refresher video images. I would recommend checking that out. Rasties is very much a rhythm. Oh, okay. That acronym I understand. So you're just going to be hidden on this channel. Later. Yeah, it's easy. It's well, the other counter is don't ever throw a light or let him throw a light, which is not super healthy. Anyway, I'm gonna take a break before the last leg of this. But thank you everybody for hanging out, and I will see you then. That might be later today. If not, it'll be tomorrow. Take care, everybody.